and welcome to episode 87 of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jamie. I'm your host and the yarn dyer behind m1yarns.com. And this is a mostly knitting and fiber related podcast. So if that's your thing, grab a cup of coffee in your project and let's chat. If you're returning, thank you so much. I always forget to say this at the top. So today we are winning, and I am announcing at the top of the episode, I can never get through this episode without the dogs barking at something. So I was about to say that show notes are below in the description box and links to everywhere you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, my website, my Patreon, which if you're interested in supporting this channel for as little as $1 a month, for which I would be ever so grateful, you can join. And let's see. Let's start with what I'm wearing. Last episode, I was still knitting this, and shortly thereafter I finished. I did some finished object photos, which I will insert here. This is the Totally Tubular Tank by Maral Mokri, whose design Instagram handle is Knitting Ruined My Life. I test knit this for her. Say that fast. Test knit this for her a couple months ago in a different yarn. I'll insert a photo of that. Absolutely loved it so much. I knew I needed to knit it again. So this is my second time. And this time I made the armhole ribbing a little bit longer to create like almost a cap sleeve feel, and I really like that. I wanted like a nice cream color for summer, and I will definitely knit this at least, I want to say 2 more times, because I specifically have yarn like set aside for it. I even think this could help with some, I'm looking at my yarn wall. This is like a really good stash buster. So I used about a skein and a half of DK weight for my size, and I'm a 38 bust. So if you're probably around that size, give or take, up or down, 2 skeins of DK would be sufficient for you. So that is finally off my needles, which is great. Last time, as I said, it was, I was just needing to finish the back and then the ribbing and join the shoulders. So now that I've finished that, I've been able to give a little bit of attention to a couple other whips. And speaking of that designer, she also designed a pattern called the Cowgirl crop, which I've also knit before. I love her patterns so much that I could knit all of them more than one time. I test knit this design for her a couple years ago and loved it, and I knew that I would knit it again. Well, I recently bought some black cowboy boots, so I needed black cowboy boots on a sweater to obviously coordinate. So last time I think I was just right at this turquoise band, and I had knit this holding a strand of silver metallic embroidery thread. Hated that, so I cut it all out. Spent like 2 evenings unpicking, well, picking the cut embroidery thread out of it because I didn't want to undo the knitting, which in hindsight would have been faster. You live and learn. But yeah, I've now made it through the colorwork yoke section. This is my cast on tail. So let's just tuck that down there. And now I've separated for sleeves. So I put this sleeve stitches on my SOS cords, which if you're not familiar with these are a little cord set that's available on my website. It comes in 2 sizes. The yellow is for US 7 and smaller. And there's a turquoise version that's for US 8 and up size projects. Each tin, just like this, comes with 2 30-inch cords for your sleeve stitches, which I just have, which I just tie them closed so I can try on my project. And then I also put the 60-inch cord. There's a lot of slack down here, but I used it on my body stitches, on half my body stitches, I should say, so that I could take a steam iron to this just to get a nice, like, visual of how it's laying so far. I could have put all the stitches on the cord to try it on, if you want, but these cords are just great. Rather than using, I don't know why I can't talk today. Rather than using, what's it called, like scrap yarn, which is hard to get your stitches back on the needle, this is really fast because you just put the end of the tube, you put your needle into the hollow of that tube. You can kind of see it, right? Yeah, right there. And then you slide your stitches onto the cord and then back onto the needle when you're ready to knit them. So this is coming along. This is going to be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters for my weekend at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival with friends. So I'm really excited. So this is going to be one. I've talked before about my other one, which I haven't touched in a minute. That is the Varma cardigan. It's bulky. I had the sleeves done. I had the body started. I'll get back to it at some point. Not worried. We have exactly 2 months to get that done. Plenty of time. And if you haven't seen it before, the main color here is, these are 2 of my yarns. This is Yak Dream, which is a merino, yak, suri alpaca, and silk lace weight. And then this is Hippie Lamb, which is a non-superwash merino in the colorway Beach Sand. So that's creating this gorgeousness. And the halo is just, let me see if I can get a good, really subtle. For those who can't do mohair, if you find it itchy, this is a great substitute. It's buttery soft and still gives you that like nice little fuzzy effect. So I've got that on sleeve separation, and now all I have to do is knit the plain stockinette of the body. My hair is acting really weird today, so sorry if I'm being annoying and playing with it. So once I finish the body, and I am going to make this long sleeves, the pattern is written for short sleeves, but I wanted this as a winter version, so long sleeves it will be. Yeah. My third, so I had planned to knit Andrea Mowry's, what's it called? It's a cardigan. It's texture. It's steeked. It's fingering. Oh, God, my brain. I'll insert a photo and the name right here. But I had planned to knit that as my third Rhinebeck sweater, but considering its texture, steeked, and fingering, I think I'm running tight on time for that. So what I want to do now with that is make that like my main winter knitting project, where I can take my time and enjoy it and not feel any pressure of these crazy self-imposed knitting deadlines. So that being said, what I've decided to make my third Rhinebeck sweater, because I need 3, because there's events on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of Rhinebeck weekend. I've decided to make something I was already knitting, a Rhinebeck sweater. This is the Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter. And last night I finally bound off the body. And I've decided, when I tried it on, the way, let me stand up a minute. The way this yoke, I don't know if it's like my row gauge or my torso length or some combination thereof, but when I try this on, the yoke comes down fairly low on the arm. Fairly low. I mean, it's kind of a big color work yoke when you consider. I don't know if this is how it falls on other people, but because of where it falls on my arm, I think it'll look better if I make this long sleeved. And considering, I mean, the main color is a merino wool blend. I think I've talked about this before. This is Happy Place by Hobbii, which is kind of a good all-season yarn, but the contrast color I hand spun, and this is my first sweater that I've knit with my hand spun. The yarn is undyed mohair plied with fiber that I bought at Cakepalooza last year at Rhinebeck weekend from Melanated Boho Bit. So it's kind of nice that it's coming full circle, going back to Rhinebeck. So maybe I'll wear this to Cakepalooza, which is the Friday of Rhinebeck weekend. So this will be my Friday sweater. So now that I've got the body done, I just have to do the sleeves. So that's 2 sweaters that I'm basically on Sleeve Island, which I don't mind. I like it, you know. So that's what I have really for whips. I do have one more whip, but it's also something new in the shop. So this is kind of a twofer, like shop update plus new whip. So I'm going to put a picture of this on the screen. Last year, a friend of mine had come to my booth at a yarn event shopping to make this cowl called the Killer Queen Cowl. There's also a gorgeous sweater version of this, but I thought a cowl would be really fun. And I like accessories for kits in my shop because then you're not trying to fit a wide range of body sizes. So by the time this episode airs, what is this hair doing? It's so random. There should be Killer Queen Cowl kits in the shop. Say that fast. Killer Queen Cowl kits. When I was typing the little labels to put on the kits yesterday, I had to say it over and over and over. And then when it printed, I had to make sure it looked right because in my head, Killer Queen Cowl kit sounded crazy. And I sound crazy saying this. Anyway, I cast on my sample, and this is about a week's worth of knitting so far, and there are several mistakes already, and I am embracing it. I know that if I'm knitting a sample for my shop, it should be perfect, but I am not perfect, and I am okay with that. So let's talk about this. This cowl has, obviously, lots of different stitch motifs happening. This is called the large bubble section. This is the tiny bubble section. These are supposed to be champagne flutes. I think mine look like they're drunk. They're kind of leaning. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm rolling with it. Does it really matter? No, not really. So I saw on Ravelry, this pattern is written as a 2-color project, 2-color design. You use like a skein and a half of worsted weight for the main color and a skein of worsted weight, another color for the contrasting color. I saw several people who used a 3rd color for the main color in these tiny bubble sections, and I really liked how that kind of broke it up a little bit and added in a little bit of flair, and I thought that is a great idea. So I made 3-color kits for this cowl, and this will be in the shop very soon. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to point out the mistakes. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be that person today. But there are mistakes. There's lots of mistakes. It's not that big of a deal. But this is a really, especially if you need something that's very engaging, this is the right amount of engaging. You read the line for, you know, the row that you're on. You know exactly what you're doing. It's easy enough that you can get through the row without looking back at it until the end of the row for like the last few stitches. But you're not looking at the pattern the whole time you're knitting. So it's engaging because every row is different, but it's not super crazy where you're like getting anxiety. So my goal was to have this finished in 3 days, and I am not even halfway done. So that's not happening, but such is life. And I say 3 days. You're like, why 3 days? Yeah, you guys can't read my mind. So this coming weekend, when this episode debuts, I will be vending at the Michigan Fiber Festival in Allegan, Michigan, which is kind of in the Grand Rapids-ish area. And it's a 3-day festival, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you see this like Saturday morning and you don't have plans tomorrow, come on out. 10 to 5 Friday, Saturday, 10 to 4 Sunday. Anyway, 9 to 5? Is it 9 or 10? It's 10. So I'll be vending there, and I wanted to have this sample done by then. It's not going to happen. But people can squish it and hold it and look at all the color combos. I'll put a couple of the combinations on the screen here that I love. I created like over a dozen combinations, and these are really fun. So that's new in the shop and new on me, my needles, and I'm loving it. So thank you to my friend Laura, who suggested that pattern last fall. And last but not least, this is a shop update of a brand new yarn base, and I intend on casting on with this possibly tonight. This is a DK weight superwash merino with Donegal, what's the word I'm looking for? Neon Donegal neps. That's the neps are these little like neon bits that you see. And I dyed this in 2 colorways. This, which I'm calling Neon Nightmare, and I'll insert a photo because I don't have it up here with me. The other colorway is Neon Daydreams. So Neon Daydreams and Neon Nightmares. Neon Nightmare. Neon Daydream. I don't know if I called it Daydream or Daydreams, and Nightmare or Nightmares. We shall find out. That was yesterday's task. So after I film this, and probably while I'm editing this video, I have to skein up the rest of these and the other colorway and label them and then cast on something. So what I'm thinking about knitting with this is, it's DK weight, and I thought a basic raglan would show off the yarn really well. Nothing too crazy. So tell me your thoughts below. My pattern ideas are either the Lento, which I have not knit before and have been wanting to, which is just a basic raglan, or the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May, which I've knit several times. It's a good go-to. So I could do that, or I've thought about a turtleneck by Petite Knit called, I just was telling someone about this. I'll put it on the screen, but it's, I love turtlenecks. And I thought, well, this would look really fun in a turtleneck. And it's so soft. So that will be new to the shop this weekend. And the yarn is called Afterglow. Don't ask me how I come up with this. Anyway, that's kind of new and exciting. And I don't know that I have anything else for you. Oh, yes, I do. If you have not yet pre-ordered your Advent box, let me tell you about it before you turn this off. If you're like, oh yeah, Advent boxes are not for me because I don't like mini skeins, this is not a mini skein Advent. but the last week to order is coming up. I want to say in the next 2 weeks, I think. So this year's Advent box is 5 full-size skeins of 5 different fibers from 5 different countries on 5 different continents. And the theme is the World Tour of Fiber. So the box will be filled with goodies of like little souvenirs from the continents and countries that the fiber is originating from, if you will. And so instead of an Advent where you open like a little package every day of December from the 1st to Christmas, this you would open like, say for example, if Christmas is on like a Sunday or something, I don't know. Let's just say every Sunday for the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, you open a package. Or maybe you want it to be on Tuesday morning, whatever you want. It's 5 packages. So you open it how you want. If you open it all on whatever holiday you celebrate or don't celebrate, that's up to you. But I'm not a big fan of mini skeins, and I thought that this would be really fun. And I should say, if you guys want a secret about the box, if you don't want to know and you've already ordered or you're going to order and you don't want any secrets, just, I'll see you later. But if you want a secret, one of the skeins is going to be like for representing the continent of North America. It's going to be fiber from Michigan. I know a lot of my viewers are from Michigan. It's going to be fiber grown and milled, spun, and obviously dyed by me in Michigan. And it's going to be an amazing breed that is doing a lot for the fiber world these days in kind of shaping the future of fiber. So I hope you'll join me in that. Definitely head over to the website ASAP and pre-order your Advent box. Shipping is included. It will ship in November, and it's full of goodies, and it's kind of like my passion project, if you will. So anyway, that I believe is all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, happy knitting. And if you're coming to the Fiber Festival, come say hi. All right. Oh, and if you are in Northern Michigan, I will see you next month at the Northern Michigan Fiber Fair in Alpine at the end of September. All right. Bye, guys.